When Marcus Williams, a billionaire black CEO, was laughed at for using his black card at one of Chicago's most elite hotels, he did something no one expected. He canceled a $2.8 billion deal on the spot, sending shockwaves through corporate America. The story opens at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel in downtown Chicago, one of the city's most prestigious five-star establishments. The marble lobby gleams under crystal chandeliers as wealthy guests move through the space with practiced elegance. It's 6 p.m. on a Thursday evening, and the hotel buzzes with the energy of business travelers and socialites. Marcus Williams, a 45-year-old African-American man, enters through the revolving doors. He's impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit that speaks of success and sophistication. His presence commands attention, though he moves with the quiet confidence of someone who has earned his place in the world through hard work and intelligence. As the CEO of Williams Tech Solutions, he's built a billion-dollar empire from nothing, and tonight he's in Chicago to finalize the biggest deal of his career. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Marcus approaches the reception desk, where Jennifer Hayes, a 28-year-old blonde receptionist, is absorbed in her computer screen. She doesn't immediately acknowledge his presence, continuing to type while he waits patiently. When she finally looks up, her expression shifts almost imperceptibly, a micro-expression that Marcus has learned to recognize over the years, though he chooses to give her the benefit of the doubt. "Good evening," Marcus says with professional courtesy. "I have a reservation under Williams." His voice carries the authority of someone accustomed to boardrooms and high-stakes negotiations, yet remains polite and respectful. Jennifer's eyes narrow slightly as she types his name into the system, her fingers moving more slowly than they had moments before. Jennifer stares at her screen for what seems like an eternity, her brow furrowed in apparent confusion. Williams, she mutters, clicking through various screens. Marcus notices other guests being served efficiently at adjacent desk stations, but he maintains his composure. His phone buzzes with notifications, messages from Goldman Sachs, reminders about tomorrow's board meeting, and updates on the $2.8 billion acquisition deal that has consumed the last 6 months of his life. "I'm sorry, sir," Jennifer finally says, her tone carrying a note of skepticism. "I'm not seeing a reservation under that name. Are you sure you booked with us?" The question hangs in the air with an undertone that suggests she doubts he belongs in such an establishment. Marcus pulls out his phone, opening his email confirmations with the patience of someone who has dealt with such situations before. "Here's my confirmation," he says, turning his phone toward her. The email clearly shows his reservation for the presidential suite, booked and confirmed 3 weeks ago. Jennifer barely glances at the screen before shaking her head. "Anyone can fake these emails," she says dismissively. "Do you have any other form of identification or payment verification?" The conversation is beginning to draw attention from other guests in the lobby. Marcus feels the familiar weight of being judged not by his character or accomplishments, but by preconceived notions. Yet he remains calm, reaching for his wallet. He knows that tomorrow's deal will create thousands of jobs and revolutionize the tech industry. But right now, he's just another black man being questioned about his right to be in this space. Marcus retrieves his American Express Centurion card, the legendary black card that's invitation only and requires spending of at least $250,000 annually. The card is a symbol of exceptional wealth and financial status held by fewer than 1% of American Express cardholders. As he places it on the marble counter, Jennifer's eyes widen, but not with recognition of its significance. Instead, she picks up the card and examines it with obvious suspicion. "This looks fake," she announces loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. A small crowd begins to gather, some pulling out phones to record what's becoming an increasingly uncomfortable scene. "Sir, I'm going to need to call our security team. We've had issues with people using fraudulent credit cards. Marcus feels a familiar knot forming in his stomach. Despite his success, despite building a company valued at over $3 billion, despite employing thousands of people and being featured on the cover of Forbes magazine just last month, he's being treated like a criminal. "Ma'am," he says, his voice still controlled but with an edge of steel, "I can assure you that card is legitimate. Perhaps you should run it through your system before making accusations." Jennifer holds the card up to the light as if checking for watermarks, her theatrical display drawing more attention. "These scammers are getting really good," she says to her colleague, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Look how real this fake black card looks." She laughs, a sound that cuts through Marcus like a knife. It's not just disbelief, it's mockery. The sound echoes through the marble lobby, amplified by the high ceilings and creating a moment that will change everything. The lobby of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel has become a theater, and Marcus finds himself cast as the unwilling protagonist in a drama he never auditioned for. Jennifer's laughter has attracted the attention of David Cromwell, the hotel's general manager, a man in his 50s with silver hair and an air of condescension that seems permanently etched into his features. "What seems to be the problem here?" Cromwell asks, though his tone suggests he's already made up his mind about the situation. Jennifer immediately launches into her narrative, painting Marcus as a suspected fraudster attempting to use fake credentials. "He's got this obviously counterfeit black card, sir. I mean, look at him. Does he really look like someone who would have an Amex Centurion?" The crowd of onlookers grows larger, phones held high, recording every moment. Marcus can see the hunger in their eyes, the anticipation of witnessing someone's downfall. In the age of social media, public humiliation has become entertainment. He thinks about his daughter, who will undoubtedly see whatever video emerges from this encounter. He thinks about his employees, his board of directors, and the delicate negotiations that hang in the balance. Cromwell examines the black card with the same theatrical skepticism as Jennifer, making a show of checking its weight and texture. "Sir, I'm afraid we're going to have to ask you to leave. We take fraud very seriously here at the Grand Metropolitan." His voice carries across the lobby, ensuring that everyone present hears the accusation. "Security will escort you out, and will be filing a report with the authorities." Marcus feels the walls closing in around him. Every eye in the lobby is focused on his face, waiting to see how he'll react. Will he become angry? Will he make a scene? Will he give them the reaction they're expecting? The stereotype they want to confirm? Instead, he takes a deep breath and makes a decision that will reverberate far beyond this marble-floored lobby. Marcus reaches into his jacket pocket, not for a weapon or to cause a scene, but to retrieve his business card. It's simple, elegant, and bears the logo of Williams Tech Solutions along with his title, Chief Executive Officer. He places it on the counter next to his black card with deliberate precision. "Before you call security," Marcus says, his voice carrying a quiet authority that cuts through the murmur of the crowd. "You might want to know who I am." He pauses, letting the weight of the moment settle. "My name is Marcus Williams. I'm the CEO of Williams Tech Solutions. Perhaps you've heard of us. We're the company that was supposed to finalize a $2.8 billion acquisition deal tomorrow morning. In this hotel. In your presidential suite." The color begins to drain from Jennifer's face as she reads the business card. Cromwell snatches it from her hands, his eyes widening as recognition dawns. Marcus continues, his voice never rising above, a conversational tone yet commanding the attention of everyone in the lobby. "We've booked your entire conference center for the next 3 days, catering for 200 executives. Your presidential and executive suites for our board members and international partners." Marcus pulls out his phone and opens his email, showing a correspondence thread with the hotel's corporate sales team. Here are the contracts signed 6 weeks ago. Here's the deposit, $400,000. Here are the special accommodation requests for our international guests, including kosher meals and specific audiovisual requirements. Each piece of evidence is presented calmly, methodically, like a prosecutor. Building an airtight case, the crowd's energy shifts palpably. Phone cameras that were pointed at Marcus with voyeuristic excitement now capture Cromwell's growing panic and Jennifer's mortification. The narrative is changing in real time, and everyone present can feel it. This isn't the story of a fraud being exposed. It's the story of successful black man being humiliated by racial profiling and incompetence. Marcus slides his phone back into his pocket and straightens his tie, a small gesture that somehow manages to convey tremendous power. The lobby has fallen silent except for the soft jazz playing through the sound system and the nervous clicking of Jennifer's keyboard as she frantically searches through reservation systems she should have checked 30 minutes ago. "Mr. Williams," Cromwell begins, his voice cracking slightly. "I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding." "No," Marcus interrupts, his voice still calm but with an undertone of steel that stops Cromwell mid-sentence. "There's been no misunderstanding. Your staff assumed that a black man couldn't possibly possess legitimate wealth or status. They accused me of fraud, threatened to call the police, and publicly humiliated me in front of dozens of witnesses, all without bothering to verify the very information I provided." Marcus looks around the lobby, making eye contact with several of the onlookers who still have their phones raised. "What you've done here tonight isn't just unprofessional. It's a reflection of systemic bias that costs businesses millions of dollars and destroys lives." He turns back to Cromwell, who is now visibly sweating despite the air conditioning. "The question now is, what are you going to do about it?" Cromwell launches into a desperate series of apologies and offers. Free upgrades, complimentary services, personal assurances that this will never happen again. But Marcus isn't interested in Band-Aid solutions. He's thinking bigger picture, about the message this sends, about the pattern of behavior it represents, and about the power he has to demand real change. "Here's what's going to happen," Marcus says, pulling out his phone once more. "I'm going to make 2 calls. The first is to my legal team because what happened here tonight constitutes discrimination and defamation. The second is to my business partners, because Williams Tech Solutions will no longer be conducting business with any entity that treats people this way." Marcus dials a number on his phone, putting it on speaker so the entire lobby can hear. The call connects, and a voice answers, "Goldman Sachs, Merger and Acquisition Division. This is Rachel Chen." "Rachel, it's Marcus Williams. I need you to cancel tomorrow's signing ceremony." The words hang in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Cromwell's face goes white, and Jennifer looks like she might faint. The crowd of onlookers presses closer, realizing they're witnessing something far more significant than hotel drama. "Cancel?" Rachel's voice crackles through the phone speaker. "Marcus, we're talking about a $2.8 billion deal. The entire tech industry is watching this acquisition. Are you sure?" Marcus never takes his eyes off Cromwell as he responds, "I'm certain. Williams Tech Solutions cannot in good conscience conduct business in a facility that practices racial discrimination. Please notify all parties that we'll be seeking an alternative venue. And Rachel, make sure the press knows why we're canceling." The sound of Rachel's typing can be heard through the phone as she processes this bombshell. "This is going to create massive headlines, Marcus. Tech giant cancels billion-dollar deal over hotel discrimination. It'll be front-page news by morning?" "Good," Marcus replies. "Maybe it will make other businesses think twice before they assume a black man doesn't belong in their establishment." He ends the call and immediately dials another number. "This is Marcus Williams calling for James Morrison at Morrison Communications. I need a press release drafted immediately. Subject: Williams Tech Solutions cancels major acquisition due to racial discrimination at Chicago hotel." The lobby erupts in whispers and gasps. People are frantically typing on their phones, posting to social media, and calling friends. The story is already beginning to spread beyond the marble walls of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel. Cromwell is now openly panicking, realizing that his hotel is about to become the center of a national conversation about race and business. Within minutes, the lobby of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel transforms into the epicenter of a social media firestorm. The videos captured by onlookers are already being shared across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Grand Metropolitan discrimination begins trending as people share their own experiences with racial profiling in high-end establishments. Cromwell is on his phone with what appears to be the hotel's corporate headquarters, his voice strained and desperate. "Yes, sir, I understand the severity of the situation. We're talking about a $2.8 billion deal being canceled because of what happened at the front desk." He glances nervously at Marcus, who stands calmly in the center of the chaos, an island of composure in a storm of panic. Jennifer has disappeared from her post, presumably called into an emergency meeting with management. Other hotel staff members watch nervously from the sidelines, whispering among themselves about what this means for their jobs, their hotel's reputation, and the industry as a whole. Marcus receives a call from his own board of directors. "Marcus, the phones are ringing off the hook," says board member Elizabeth Santos. CNN wants a statement. The Wall Street Journal is calling for an interview, and 3 other hotel chains have already reached out offering to host tomorrow's signing. Marcus smiles grimly. "Tell them we'll make a decision about the new venue within the hour. As for the media, we'll give them a full statement once we're settled elsewhere." The financial implications begin to cascade. The Grand Metropolitan's stock price starts dropping in after-hours trading as news of the canceled deal spreads. Corporate clients begin calling to express concerns about their own bookings. The hotel industry trade publications are preparing emergency articles about the cost of discrimination in hospitality. Marcus checks his watch. Less than an hour has passed since he walked through the front doors, but the ripple effects of this encounter will be felt for months to come. By 8 p.m., news vans are pulling up outside the Grand Metropolitan Hotel. The story has exploded across social media platforms with the hashtag Black Card Discrimination garnering over 100,000 mentions in just 2 hours. The original videos from hotel guests have been viewed millions of times, with comments ranging from outrage to support for Marcus's decision to cancel the deal. Inside the hotel, Cromwell is in full crisis management mode. He's brought in the hotel's public relations team, corporate lawyers, and even the owner of the hotel chain via video conference. "We need to control the narrative," he tells his hastily assembled crisis team. "This could destroy us if we don't handle it correctly, but the narrative is already beyond their control." Marcus has given a brief statement to the gathering reporters outside. What happened tonight isn't just about one hotel or one incident. It's about a pattern of assumptions and biases that successful people of color face every day. When institutions make judgments based on skin color rather than character or credentials, everyone loses. The business implications continue to mount. Williams Tech Solutions' stock price actually rises as investors view Marcus's principled stand as evidence of strong leadership. Other major corporations begin reaching out, offering partnership opportunities and expressing solidarity. The conversation shifts from being about one canceled deal to being about corporate responsibility and the cost of discrimination. 3 other major tech companies announced they're reviewing their relationships with the Grand Metropolitan Hotel chain. A prominent civil rights organization calls for a boycott. The hotel's corporate social media accounts are flooded with negative comments, and their customer service lines are jammed with cancellation requests. Marcus, meanwhile, has moved his operations to the Four Seasons down the street, where he's been welcomed with genuine respect and professionalism. The acquisition deal will proceed as planned, just at a different venue, proving that principle doesn't have to come at the cost of business success. 24 hours later, the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, finds itself at the center of a national conversation about race, business, and accountability. The hotel's parent company has seen its stock price drop by 12%, wiping out hundreds of millions in market value. Corporate clients have canceled events worth over $15 million in bookings, and the hotel industry is buzzing with discussions about implicit bias training and customer service protocols. Cromwell has been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. Jennifer has been terminated, though the hotel maintains this was due to failure to follow proper procedures rather than explicit discrimination. The company announces a comprehensive review of their hiring practices, customer service training, and corporate policies regarding bias and discrimination. Marcus's acquisition deal closes successfully at the Four Seasons, generating positive press about businesses that value diversity and inclusion. The $2.8 billion transaction creates thousands of jobs and establishes Williams Tech Solutions as one of the largest Black-owned companies in America. The story becomes a case study in business schools about the real costs of discrimination and the power of principled leadership. In interviews following the incident, Marcus emphasizes that his goal was never to destroy the hotel or anyone's career, but to shine a light on unconscious bias and its consequences. When you assume someone doesn't belong somewhere based on their appearance, you're not just hurting that individual. You're potentially damaging your business, your reputation, and your community. The incident sparks broader conversations in corporate America about the importance of diversity training, the cost of discrimination, and the power that comes with standing up for one's principles. Other business leaders share their own experiences with bias, creating a movement toward greater awareness and accountability in professional settings. 6 months after the incident at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, the ripple effects continue, to be felt across the hospitality and business industries. The hotel chain has implemented comprehensive bias training for all employees, revised their customer service protocols, and established a diversity and inclusion board. While they've managed to recover some of their lost business, the incident remains a cautionary tale about the real costs of discrimination. Marcus Williams has become an unexpected voice in corporate America's ongoing conversation about race and business. His company continues to thrive, and he's been invited to speak at conferences about leadership, principle, and the intersection of social justice and business success. The incident has actually enhanced his reputation as a leader who stands by his values, attracting top talent and business partnerships. The story serves as a powerful reminder that in today's connected world, a single moment of poor judgment can have far-reaching consequences. It also demonstrates that individuals with platform and power have the ability to create meaningful change when they're willing to take a stand. For Marcus, the incident reinforced a lesson he'd learned long ago. Success isn't just about accumulating wealth or closing deals, it's about maintaining dignity, standing up for what's right, and using your influence to create a better world for the next generation. As he often tells his daughter, your character is defined not by how you act when everything is going well, but by how you respond when you're tested. The Grand Metropolitan Hotel incident became more than just a viral moment or a canceled business deal. It became a symbol of the ongoing struggle for equality in America and proof that principled leadership can triumph over prejudice, even when it comes at a significant cost.